Welcome to Working on It. I'm Dr. A and I'm a clinical psychologist aiming to make your life just a bit more manageable. Remember, the tools and the tidbits that you pick up on this channel are purely educational. They can't replace therapy, but with some practice, they can help you along in your daily life. So let's get started. Today, we are going to talk about the number one reason of all breakups. And it's not what you think it is. Well, at least it wasn't what I thought it was when I found this out in the first place. This goes for romantic relationships, whether it's dating or marriage, and it goes for friendships as well and friendship breakups. The absolute number one reason that people end up going their separate ways is because of not finances, which I thought it was, and not communication, which I thought it was, and not intimacy, emotional or physical intimacy, which I thought it was. None of those. The number one reason is unmet expectations. It's not a bad thing to have expectations. In fact, I expect the most out of the people closest to me because I give the most as well. I expect the least out of a stranger and the most out of a close friend. It makes sense, right? So the expectations themselves aren't bad, but what happens is we have very general expectations, like, for example, love languages and how we expect to feel loved by our partner or our friends, right? And we have very specific expectations. This is what I want to happen on Valentine's Day. This is what I expect on my birthday. When those things aren't met, we feel a lot of feelings like sadness, hurt, anger, frustration. That is a normal response to feeling disappointed, right? So the expectations exist because we feel close to somebody, but then we get them broken and we have all these really, really strong emotions, right? It makes sense. Now, will all those really, really, really strong emotions lead to a breakup on that first, second, third time that our expectations are not met? No. But what happens? It has an additive effect, doesn't it? One birthday, the expectation is unmet. Okay. 5 holidays in a row, what happens is that frustration and hurt and anger now is not here. It's built like Legos all the way to here. And if your expectations are constantly not being met, if you're constantly feeling those, what you feel like are negative feelings, hurt, anger, frustration, and they're adding up, and now the intensity of it, and it's directed at the person who's disappointing you, guess what we have? Resentment, animosity, not wanting to spend as much time with them. We did last week a video on cheating. Go check that out. It could lead to being unfaithful and looking elsewhere to get our needs met. All of those things are true, right? So one unmet expectation, okay. 5, okay. But as they pile up, what could happen is that resentment can build, which in turn chips away at love, at respect, right? At even liking the person because you find that they're causing you pain. So what do we do about this? Now that we know the number one cause in friendships and romantic relationships are unmet expectations, how do we get our expectations met, right? Because we want to continue to have expectations. Like I said, we have them of people we feel very intimate with and close to. We have 2 options here. We have 2 options. Both are good. One is to edit those expectations. Don't come after me. I didn't say throw them away or trash them or get rid of them. Just edit them. So what I mean is, let's say you expected to get a birthday cake and flowers on your birthday, and that's really important to you. Those are your expectations in your mind, right? Maybe you didn't communicate them. When you don't get those flowers and you don't get that birthday cake, maybe we could edit that by just saying, all right, they didn't get this for me, but I loved my birthday present, or they booked this special thing for me on my birthday, or the last 5 days were great days where I felt really cared about and loved. And so we can edit that slightly to not have the disappointment be like this bottomless pit, right, on our birthday. Okay? Or it's Valentine's Day and we expected reservations at a restaurant and the person sort of didn't make it. Not great, not great. Normal expectations to have. But you can sort of edit that and think to yourself, okay, how can I balance this out with something that wasn't as deeply disappointing? Am I always being disappointed, or is it just this particular instance that I can maybe edit a little bit? Okay, they didn't make reservations, but when I woke up, there was flowers on the table. So we can choose to edit those expectations slightly, to either balance it out with something different or come to expect different kinds of things based on the person that's in front of us, right? Maybe our friend isn't so great at, calling us on our birthday. Maybe they text us and we don't love that. But our friend was there for us all these times that we needed them. Maybe we could edit that expectation knowing that they're not so great on the phone, okay? The second option, if we don't want to edit our expectations, is to make sure that we communicate them very, very clearly. Here we go talking about communication again, as if last video wasn't enough, right? But it's true. We have to communicate, this is what I need, this is what I want on these days or in these circumstances. If your love languages don't match, which is very common, you need to, instead of resenting it and feeling unloved, you need to communicate to the other person, I really need you to tell me that I did a good job. I know that's not how you feel loved, but I need that. I worked really hard at this. I literally need you to tell me how proud you are and what a good job I did. You communicated that. If it's more not minor, but I guess granular things instead of this big thing like love languages, like I said, birthdays or holidays, or even what you expect of the person when you're sick, you need to communicate that. I need you to make me tea when I don't feel well. That's how I'm going to feel cared about. I need to see that you care about me, and that's how I feel cared about. And every single time that I'm sick, I need you to make me tea and ask me what it is that I need. It's okay. It's more than okay to have that expectation of people that we feel close with, particularly with our partners. Okay? So we can edit our expectations, or we can communicate very, very clearly, specifically what it is that we need at what times. And like I said in the next video, watch what happens. Does the other person try to listen and abide by that? Did editing your expectation made that pit of the despair a little more shallow and your disappointments not as deep? I bet it will have some kind of effect, whether you edit your expectations or communicate them. But I'll tell you what, doing neither of those things will keep you stuck in a constant state of disappointment and just looking for the next thing that you'll be disappointed by. That would lead to a breakup, whether it's with a friend or your romantic partner. Give this a try. Think about what your expectations are when it comes to friendships, close friendships, when it comes to your romantic partners. Think about whether you want to edit some of them, whether you want to communicate some of them, and see the results. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday, and in the next video, we will be talking about how do we enjoy our food. Oftentimes, we either gobble down our food without thinking about it, we barely even tasted it, right? Or we have a lot of anxiety about it and people have problems around food. Either way, most of the time, we are not truly, truly enjoying our food. I will give you a very easy exercise that you can do, not just at home when you're eating dinner, but you can even do out in public without anybody else having to know. So, come back and do that exercise in real time with me. Until then, you got this. See you next time.